Good morning. It is AA day. Oh, try to get my phone set up here for the Facebook side. I keep dropping it. Oh, and the dog's thinking that I'm talking to somebody that's not here. Well, that's here, but I don't know. I don't know. It's not going to work today. It's going to be difficult today. Okay, maybe that's better. So it is AA day. Day. I want to share the rules. Good morning. Thank you, Lily. I am doing AA. As you all know. Please be kind to one another. No judgment, no harassment. If you don't want people to know that you are the alcoholic that is needing the help, please don't say that in the chat. Because not everybody comes here for being an alcoholic or addict. They might be coming here to support me or to support a family member, a friend, or just learn some ways of helping a loved one stop drinking. Um, so there, that's that. Anyway, so I'm going to say the Serenity Prayer and get the meeting started. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Copper. Copper! Get up here and lay down. Just, no. Lay down. Thank you. Hello, Ivan. Welcome back. Hope you are doing well. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm Sandra. I'm an alcoholic. We are here to support and help one another with our sobriety, and learning how to keep ourselves accountable for our own actions, and learning that we cannot control everything that happens, and we can only control ourselves. And yeah, so I just got 9 years last Wednesday, and I'm feeling pretty good. And if it wasn't for having AA and learning all of the steps and stuff, I wouldn't be here today. If you're wondering what we're reading, what book we're reading, or what page or whatever we're on, I do put it in the description, which if you're watching the replay or if you're watching the live stream, I believe you can see where it says more. And you push on that, it will bring up the book we're in and the page number and the story. So just so you know, I do put that in here because not everybody can make it through a live stream and they might be watching a replay. So I'm going to read the steps and then we'll get into the big book. 1. We admit we are powerless over alcohol, that our lives have become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continued to take personal inventory and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And you can hear me, right? And see me? I forgot to ask. Thank you. So we're in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Mine is a 4th edition, so you may be on a different page. Just a second, Facebook. I gotta respond to. Sorry about that. Hello, Ava. Good to see you. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you. Yes, the ones are to let me know you can see me and hear me. Everybody asks for that so that way we're not just talking and nobody's hearing anything. So, yeah. So, we are on the 6th story, Student of Life, page 319. Living at home with her parents, she tried using willpower to beat the obsession to drink. But it wasn't until she met another alcoholic and went to an AA meeting that sobriety took hold. I started drinking at age 18, rather a late bloomer, by today's standards. But after I started, the disease of alcoholism hit me with a vengeance and made up for lost time. After I had been drinking for several years and seriously wondering if I did indeed have a problem with alcohol, I read one of the "Are you an alcoholic?" quiz type checklists. Much relieved, I found that almost nothing applied to me. I had never lost a job, a spouse, children, or any material possession through alcohol. The fact that my drinking hadn't allowed me to gain any of those things crossed my mind only after I came into AA. I can't blame 1 ounce of my drinking or on my upbringing. My parents were loving and supportive and have been married 35 years. No one else in my family exhibits alcohol drinking or alcoholic behavior. For some reason, despite the resources available to me growing up, I developed into an adult woman terrified of the world around me. I was extremely insecure through or though I was careful to hide this fact. I was unable to handle and understand my emotions. I always felt as if everyone else knew what was going on and what they were supposed to be doing, and my life was the only one that was delivered without an instruction book. When I discovered alcohol, everything changed. I took my first real drink my first night at college. I attended what was to be the first of many, many fraternity parties. I didn't care for the beer, so I went to the vat of incautious looking punch. I was told it was laced with grain alcohol. I don't remember how many drinks I had, and my recollection, recollection of the actual event of the rest of the night are fuzzy. But I do remember this much. When I was drinking, I was okay. I understood everything made sense. I could dance, talk, and enjoy being in my own skin. It was as if I had been an unfinished jigsaw puzzle with one piece missing. As soon as I took a drink, the last piece instantly and effortlessly snapped into place. I don't remember getting home that night, and I woke up the next morning completely dressed and in full makeup. I was sick as a dog, but I managed to crawl into the shower and prepare for my first college class. I sat through the entire class pleading with my eyes to, to the professor to let us out early. He kept us to the bell. And when it rang, I flew into the women's room, crashed into the first stall, and threw everything up. The insanity of the disease had already manifested itself. I recall thinking as I knelt retching in the stall that this was fantastic. Life was great. I had finally found the answer. Alcohol. Yes, I overdid it the night before, but I was new to this game. I only had to learn how to drink right and I was set. I attempted to drink right for the next 8 years. My progression was phenomenal. There is absolutely no period in my drinking career that can be described as social drinking. I blacked out almost every time I put alcohol in my system, but I decided I could live with that. It was a small price to pay for the power and confidence alcohol gave me. After drinking for less than 6 months, I was almost a daily drinker. I wound up on academic probation. I had always been on the honor roll in high school. My first semester, sophomore year, and my response to that was to change my major. My life on campus revolved around parties, drinking, and men. I surrounded myself with people who drank and as I did, even though several people had already expressed their concern over my drinking. I rationalized that I was only doing what every other red blooded college student did. Somehow I managed to graduate, but while most of my friends were securing good jobs and abruptly stopping their boozing, I seemed to be left behind on campus. I had resolved that I, too, would now settle down and drink properly, but to my frustration, I found I could not do so. I took a pitiful sales job that paid nothing or next to nothing, so I continued to live with my parents. I kept this job for 2 years for one reason. It allowed me to drink with minimal interference. My pattern was to, to pick up a fifth of whiskey somewhere during my round of appointments and keep it under the car seat with me. When I got home in the evening, I drank at least half the fifth in front of the television set and watched reruns until I passed out. I did this every night by myself for almost 2 years. I had become a daily isolated drinker and was starting to get a little nervous. My neck. My behavior at this point was textbook. I was stashing bottles all over the house, sneaking drinks from my parents' small supply when I ran out, rationing or rotate rationing the number of bottles I threw away at the same time so the trash bag wouldn't clink, refilling my parents' vodka and gin bottles with water, and so on. I had also resorted to videotaping my favorite reruns while I was watching them because I always blacked out before the ending. About this time, the TV movie My Name is Bill W. about the co-founder of AA was aired. Intrigued, I sat down with my whiskey and soda bottle to watch it. When Bill whipped out a flask in the car to bolster himself before a visit with his father-in-law, I heaved a sigh of relief. Oh, I'm not that bad, I thought to myself. I then proceeded to get drunk and to black out. I don't remember any more of the movie. My parents were at a total loss. I was going nowhere. Lay down. I was going nowhere and I was irritable and hostile since they had no experience with alcoholism. They had no idea what was wrong with me or what to do about it. And neither did I. I knew I drank too much and that my life was miserable, but I never made the connection between those two conditions. My parents made the only suggestion that then made sense to them. They offered to help me financially if I wanted to go back to school. Seeing no other way out, I jumped at the opportunity. I spent 2 years in graduate school, 750 miles from home. I can honestly say I know why they call it a geographical cure. For about 9 months, I was able to cut my drinking down sharply. I still drank almost every day, but not to the point of my usual stupor, and I didn't black out very often. I was able to concentrate on my schoolwork that first year and tem- make lots of friends. However, geographical cures are only temporary. Mine lasted a little less than a year. After about 10 months or so, I slowly started to slide back into my old patterns. Steadily, I worked my way back to the same quantities of whiskey I was drinking at home, and the blackouts returned. My grades started to drop, and my friends started to wonder. I even began watching reruns again. I had brought my homemade videotapes with me to school. Quit. Fortunately, I managed to graduate, but I had gone nowhere. After graduating, after graduation, I returned to my parents' house as I had been unsuccessful in securing a job. I was back. I was back in my old bedroom, back to the same routine of drinking every evening until I passed out, and it was getting worse. I was starting earlier and consuming more and more liquor. I had no job, no friends. I saw no one but my parents. I was beyond frustration at this point. Hadn't I done everything that was expected of me? Hadn't I graduated from college and gone on to earn a master's degree? I had never gone to jail, crashed any cars, or got into trouble like a real alcoholic would. When I was working, I never missed a day because of drinking. I never ran myself into debt, nor had I abused a spouse or children. Sure, I drank a lot, but I didn't have a problem. How could I when I hadn't done any of the things that prove you're an alcoholic? So, what was the problem? All I really wanted was a decent job so I could be independent and productive. I could not understand why life just wouldn't cut me a break. Oh, my neck. I did odd projects around the house for my parents to earn my keep until I took a job for a local entrepreneur. I don't know that word, sorry. Nor did it pay very much, but it got me out of the house, and it was challenging in many ways. At this point, I was in a vicious battle to control my drinking. I knew that if I took only one drink, I'd lose complete control and drink until I passed out. Nevertheless, I tried day after day to beat this obsession with alcohol. I picked up a half gallon of whiskey one night after work and drank over one third of it in less than 4 hours that same night. I was so sick the next day, but I made it to work. When I got home from work, I sat on my parents' sofa and I knew I would start working on the half gallon again, despite the fact that I was still very ill from the night before. I also knew that I did not want to drink. Sitting on that sofa, I realized that the old I could stop if I wanted to. I just don't want to. Didn't apply here because I did not want to drink. I watched myself get up off the sofa and pour myself a drink. When I sat back down on the sofa, I started to cry. My denial had cracked. I believed I hit bottom that night. Had I but I didn't know it when. I just thought I was insane. I proceeded to finish the half gallon. 6 months later, my boss flew me to California for a trade show. I hated working the shows, but I loved to travel, so I went. I was extremely nervous about the trip because my boss liked to party, and we were flying in a guy our age from Hawaii to work the show with us. At this point, I had managed to hold together 31 days without a drink, and I was terrified that I would give in to the temptation of being on an all expense paid trip in Fun City with two party animals. It had been very difficult for me to stay dry for 30 days. The obsession spoke to me every day. I arrived late on Friday and managed not to drink that night. The next morning at the show, I was offered the gift that changed my life. I need to get a drink of water. Our Hawaiian sales rep seemed frustrated. I thought he I thought he was disappointed that he hadn't managed to write an order for a couple he had just finished working with. I went over to console him. He said no, his mood had nothing to do with the couple. Instead, he explained that just this week he had lost his girlfriend, dropped out of school, lost his apartment, and also lost his full time job. He added, I'm an alcoholic. I've been sober for a year and a half, except I drank again this past week. I'm a mess about it. At that very instant, I heard one word in my head. The word was now. I knew it meant say something now. To my amazement, I spoke the word. Mike, I think I'm one too. Mike's mood instantly changed. I recognized now it was hope. We started talking among other things. I told him I hadn't had a drink for about a month, but didn't go to AA. When he asked why I had avoided AA, I told him it was because I didn't think I had hit bottom. Somehow he didn't laugh, but said, you hit bottom when you stopped digging. He took me to my first three AA meetings. It was the second meeting that clinched my resolve to pursue sobriety. There were about 35 people in attendance, but the space was small, so the meeting seemed very crowded. Being from out of town, I stood up and introduced myself. When I asked when asked by the chairman later on in the meeting, the chairperson called on me to share. I got up and somehow walked over to the microphone and podium. I've never been so nervous in my life, but the words came out naturally as I described the events that led up to the meeting that night. As I spoke, I looked around the room. More importantly, I looked at the faces of the people in the room and I saw it. I saw the understanding, the empathy, the love. Today, I believe saw my higher power for the first time in those faces. While still up at the podium, it hit me. This is what I need to be looking for all my life. Or this was what I had been looking for all my life. This was the answer, right here in front of me. Indescribable relief came over me. I knew the fight was over. Later on that night, still reeling in the ecstasy of relief and hope, I remembered the afternoon in the bathroom stall at college after my first class when I was so certain I had found the answer in alcohol. I could clearly see how that had been a lie. That is the description that fits alcohol best for me. It is a lie, an evil, insidious lie, and I chased that lie for a long time, even when it was obvious that I was going nowhere and killing myself while doing it. At that AA meeting, when I looked out over all those faces, I finally saw the truth. When I returned home, I threw myself into AA. I did 90 meetings in 90 days, got a sponsor, and joined a home group. I did everything that was suggested. I made coffee, took commitments, and got involved with service. I rode the roller coaster of early sobriety. Every second was worth it to get where I am today. It was very important to my recovery to study and work the steps. To this day, I still make at least 2 step meetings a week. I have a sponsor who guides me through the steps gently but firmly with a sure-handedness. I hope I am able to emulate with the 2 women I now sponsor. The promises have begun to materialize for me, and there's still so much work to do. It is almost impossible to adequately describe how much the program has given me, even in just these 6 short years. I have been financially supporting myself in my own apartment for 5 years and plan to buy a house next year. I've secured a good job with a promising future. My income has increased more than 150% since I got sober. But just as material losses are not necessary to indicate alcoholism, material gains are not the true indications of sobriety. The real rewards aren't material in nature. I have friends now because I know how to be a friend, and I know how to nurture and encourage valuable friendships. Instead of the prolonged one night stands I used to carry my boyfriends, there is a special man in my life I've been involved with for almost 5 years. And most importantly, I know who I am. I know my goals, dreams, values, and boundaries, and I know how to protect, nurture, and validate them. Those are the true rewards of sobriety, and there what I was looking for all along. I am so grateful that my higher power stepped in to show me the way to the truth. I pray every day that I never turn my back on it. I came to AA in order to stop drinking. What I received in return was my life. I can tell you every time I read this book, this I end up like this. Um, because it's true. It's true, so true that when you start your drinking, you feel like, oh, good, this is going to help me get through it. This is going to be so great. I'm going to be able to like go out and socialize and do all these things, and then you get into it, and like for me, I fought it for a long time. I did drink as a teenager. I drank in my early 20s, my early early 30s. I was still drinking, not, you know, the alcoholic way. Yes, I was still an alcoholic all that time without wanting to or realizing that I was. I hit my 30s and I went down, and I became that alcoholic. Um, I don't even know how long I was alcoholic. I think it was like 4 years, 5 years. I lived in the same apartment where I started for 3 years. I think I started drinking like my second year living there. So there was 2 years, and I quit drinking for a year, and I went back to drinking for another year and a half, 2 years. I'm not exactly sure, but I had more confidence in myself, and I had thought that oh great, I'm gonna be able to uh go have fun and party it up, and that was in my 20s and my teens. That's what I was doing. And then when I became the alcoholic self that I am, I I was drinking every day, every single day. And I was able to wait until, my kids went to school and my husband was off to work. I was able to wait until, you know, evening time when I first started. And then I started drinking on the daily, waking up, going and getting a beer, uh, fighting over whiskey, fighting over beer. And that was fighting with everybody that was around me. Um, it's pretty embarrassing to say it, but it's the truth. And it's my truth, because that's where I was at that time. I had to have the last drink. I had to make sure I had some for the next day. I had to. It was all control. That was my focus. Nothing else mattered to me. I got in a fight with my sister and we moved away. We moved away to a different part of the state and far enough away that I knew none of them were coming. Um, that hurt because I I didn't leave just because of those reasons, but I decided November 15th, 2014, that I was not going to drink anymore. Um, all it took was my sister calling me, and I knew she was drunk. And I regret saying this, but then again, I think it helped. I told her, don't call me when you're drunk. That's the only time you call. That was the only time he ever called. And she is not him in any means at all. Neither one of us are like him. But my point is finding AA thanks to a friend of mine. He helped me get my life back. He's like, you come to AA, we can meet at the AA group. It's in the hometown, and it's a small group. And so I figured, all right, I'll be able to see my friend on top of, being around other people that are like me. I've been sober for a while though, but when I started going to AA, my first meeting, I did listen as much as what I could hear. And see, I had already admitted that I was an alcoholic. I didn't know that I needed to say the rest of that step. And so when I went to AA, I learned those things. And without AA, I probably would not be sitting here doing a meeting on YouTube and Facebook. YouTube and Facebook are my platform that I get to reach out and say, hey, there is help and it works. You might have to go to a rehab first, but do it because in the long run, your life is worth it. The alcohol is not worth your life. And I want everybody to know that. And that's why I'm doing these meetings. And because I was told in the book that what I have learned, I need to share. Because that is how we pass it along to another person who is still suffering or who just needs the help and somebody to say that they're not alone. That's what it took for me. After my first meeting, I got a list on a piece of paper of phone numbers that I could call. I hadn't been told anything about a sponsor, y'all. Nothing about a sponsor. But I was calling 30 calls I made that day. I wanted to find out when the next meeting was because I wanted to go again. And so the third person answered her phone and she became my first sponsor. Yes, she is still my sponsor. And I have another sponsor, and she was one of my coworkers. And for my first full time job, and she is still my friend, and she is still a sponsor to me. I still talk to her, and she's always saying, "Keep your chin up, keep going," and I thank her for that. And I have family members and friends that I help here that I think I'm their sponsee or I'm their sponsor, but I'm not sure. I know for one for sure I am, but that's what I am doing these for is to share the things that help, the things that you might be thinking that, oh, I'm not, I only drink at such and such time or such and such day and blah blah blah. We can tell ourselves that for a long time, but then eventually, hopefully, you find out that you are an alcoholic that needs help. And, you know, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to pull yourself up, pull yourself together, and go to a meeting. Believe me, I know. I know it is. But it is completely worth it. It is worth every struggling, happy, sad, all the emotions a day. Working your steps, having your meetings, having a sponsor, talking to people, spread the love of being free of the alcohol, being able to say, no, I don't want that drink, because that's what I learned. I learned very quickly that I did not want to keep that in myself, saying, okay, no, I'm not worried about it. No, that's not me. No, because I did that long enough. I was miserable and I was isolating myself, drinking by myself, having no friends. My family didn't really want to come around. Um, and whenever they did, I was like, bring some alcohol, come drink with me, blah, blah, blah. And, I don't miss it. I don't miss it. I'm so happy to be sober, so happy to have my life and have my family and have my real friends and having the people who care and who share their journey with others. Um, it is not easy at all, but it's worth it. I started off by myself, and I'm telling you, I probably wouldn't still be sober had it not I've been found that I went and found AA. If it wasn't for AA, I'd probably be back out there by now. I'm 9 years, and that's all it takes is that one drink. And I've already done that. I already went and drank after being sober for a year without AA, and I know that's where I would end up if I had one drink. And that's this is my true passion. Sharing my story and being able to help others and reach out and say, you're not alone. There's other people just like you. There's other people that had the same struggles that are still, staying in the bad moods and the bad thinking. But once you get the hang of the steps and stuff and you work your steps and you are true to yourself, and that's what you have to do is tell yourself that is what you want, not for somebody else. Never for somebody else. You always have to do it for you. That's what I did. And I know if I had not done it for myself, I would not be here. And so I want you to know that y'all are amazing. You're amazing people. You're worth it. And you can do it. Just go for it. You'll see once you start, you won't want to stop. You'll want to continue on the sobriety journey, even when life gets tough. I know I have been, and I've had a lot of tough things happen, but I'm staying sober and I'm seeing true emotions and true feelings going through every day of my life. And that's all I could ask for. That's all I could ask for. And I'm really glad you all are here and um, listening, watching, leaving comments in the chat. It helps a lot having people help. Um, so yeah, I am more than grateful for have found AA. I'm grateful that I have all of you. I'm grateful that I have my family and my friends. And um, I may not see all of you who come into my chats who are watching, but just know you can do this. You've got this. And I'm going to say the Serenity Prayer for Facebook and then read the daily reflections. I will post the daily reflections there on Facebook in just a moment. So let's say the Serenity Prayer. God, Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. Love you guys. I'm still here on YouTube. Daily reflection. Okay, today's daily reflection, a classic prayer. Lord, make me a channel for thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love, that where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness, that where there is discord, I may bring harmony, that where there is error, I may bring truth, but where truth, that where there is doubt, I may bring faith, that where there is despair, I may bring hope, that where there are shadows, I may bring light, that where there is sadness, I may bring joy. Lord, grant me that I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted, to or understand than to be understood, to love than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds, it is by forgiving that one is forgiven. It is by dying that one awakens to eternal life. Amen. 12 Steps, 12 Traditions, page 99. I'm not done reading yet. There's more. No matter where I am in my spiritual growth, the St. Francis prayer helps me improve my conscious contact with God of my understanding. I think I think that one of the great advantages of my faith in God is that I do not understand him or her or it. It may be that my relationship with my higher power is so fruitful that I do not have to understand. All that I am certain of is that if I work the 11th step regularly as best I can, I will continue to improve my conscious contact. I know his will for me and I will carry the power, or I will the will have the power to carry it out. Sorry, it's tongue tying. So with that, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope this meeting has helped you in some way of showing you that you can do it and you're not alone. We are here. Thank you. Oh, Ivan, I'm sorry. It's all the same thing. Wow. So I hope this meeting has helped you all, and I hope that you find that you are truly not alone. And you have a wonderful day. And I'll be live again tomorrow morning at 7. Oh, no, I won't. I think I'm working tomorrow morning. Let me check my schedule. I scheduled myself to work and then forget what one I'm supposed to work. I was supposed to work yesterday, but I didn't. So I got 2 more points. Whoops. Schedule. Yeah, I scheduled myself for tomorrow morning, so I'll be live at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and be safe out there. Be kind. Have a great day. and stay sober. You got this.